people to fill the vacant boards of sector education and training authorities. The latest accusation follows Manamela's recent decision to appoint ANC-linked individuals and former leaders to be administrators of some of the country's struggling seaters. The DA's Karabo Khahau says Manamela has done it again by appointing a former ANC mayor and a provincial executive member to the country's 21 seaters. This follows previous appointments by former Minister Nobuhle Nkabane that was abandoned before her dismissal.
Minister Puti Manamela's new SETA board members are, like we're expected, yet again stacked with ANC cadres.
She says Manamela concealed the list for 28 days before releasing it just yesterday.
Well, now we see why. Because those appointments, again, like Nobuhle Nkabane, have a plethora of ANC cadres, from former mayors of KwaZulu-Natal of the ANC, to members of ANC PECs, to members of the ANC Youth League executives.
Let's move to KZN now, where the ANC says it hopes the historical record will be set straight over the cause of death of its former president, Chief Albert Luthuli. The KwaZulu-Natal High Court is expected to hand down judgment today on the reopened inquest into Luthuli's death. Luthuli died in 1967, with the original inquest ruling his death was accidental, saying he was hit by a train. Thabiso Koba has more.
ANC supporters and Umkhonto Wesizwe military veterans have gathered outside the KwaZulu-Natal High Court for today's judgment. ANC's provincial convener Jeff Khatebe says a wound that has remained open for over 5 decades may finally be healed today.
Because as the ANC, we never believed that this was a train accident. We always felt that he was assassinated by the apartheid regime.
The Luthuli family, including his grandchildren and children, is present in court today, hoping justice will finally be delivered. Thabiso Koba, Eyewitness News, Pietermaritzburg.
And the Australian Maritime Safety Authority is investigating the circumstances surrounding the death of an 80-year-old woman who was found on a Great Barrier Reef island after being left behind by a cruise ship. The BBC reports that the woman was hiking on Lizard Island with a group of passengers from the Coral Adventurer cruise ship. It is suspected that she got separated from that group when she took a break. The ship then left the island and returned hours later to search for the woman, only to find her dead. Gold is trading at $3,959.04 an ounce. The rand is at 17.20 to the dollar, 22.69 to the pound, 19.97 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $64.55 a barrel.
Heading in and out of the Joburg CBD, there's bumper-to-bumper traffic. This is on the M2 westbound between Joslovo Drive and Main Reef Road in Calvin Alex area. We're still dealing with those roadworks, slowing down traffic. N3 in both directions between London Road and the Butlu interchange. And in the Mother City, there's slow-moving traffic on the elevated freeway heading into the Cape Town CBD.
It's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng today with scattered showers and thundershowers expected. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 24 and 26 degrees, while Cape Town is fine with a fresh southeasterly wind at a high of 33. The top story in EWN this hour. Police have responded to a crime scene in Marlborough, north of Johannesburg at the intersection of Viola Road as well as 4th and 8th Street.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Mandy Wiener on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener on 702 and Cape Talk is brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. Think bigger, think Nedbank Commercial Banking. On the show today, Witness C implicates Shadrach Sibiya at the Madlanga inquiry. The Public Works Minister, Dean McPherson, will join us to talk about the construction reform plan. Judgment expected in the Chief Albert Luthuli inquest. The first Walmart-branded store will be in Clearwater. And our book of the week is Hollywood on the Veldt, when movie mayhem gripped the city of gold. All of that over the next hour.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app, DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Report on 702 and Cape Talk with me, Mandy Wiener. We'll keep an eye on that developing situation you heard about in the EWN bulletin around that shooting that has taken place in Marlborough, that area. If you happen to be driving past, if you are an eyewitness, if you have any information there, please do give us a call just so that we can get a sense of what's happening there. We'll speak to the Public Works Minister, Dean McPherson, a little bit later on in the show as well. About this plan. You know, we've heard so many times about how the government wants to turn South Africa into a construction site. Well, what about all the construction sites that have been abandoned or that aren't finished? So there's a plan to deal with all of that. But sure, let's start at the Madlanga inquiry, because bombshells left, right and centre from Witness C. Testifying, as you heard in the news bulletin, about the former National Commissioner, Ria Piyega's relationship with Kat Matlala. Also, Shadrack Sibiya, the Deputy National Commissioner. We're hearing about payments and credit cards and all sorts of things. Oren Singh, EWN reporter, following that for us. Oren, good afternoon to you. Thanks for your time. Before we get into the actual testimony, just remind us, who is Witness C? What do we know about them?
Witness C is a former member of the political killings task team, Mandy, and is currently attached to the Gauteng Counterintelligence Operations Unit. This team or unit were the ones who worked to arrest Vusi Kat Matlala, as well as those implicated in the murder of Vereniging engineer Armand Swart, the likes of Katiso Keti Molefe.
Okay, so take us through some of that testimony that we've been hearing from Witness C.
Some explosive stuff this morning, I think, Mandy, and I think we would have not looked at it the same way had we not heard a portion or an extract of that recording that Witness C recorded by Kat Matlala, allegedly, or could be looked at as a confession, essentially. But on the day they arrested Kat Matlala, which was on the 13th of May this year, when they took him to the police station to process him, Matlala asked investigators if they could sit down and talk. And they found a room, I suspect, in the police station. They went in, not only Witness C, but Witness A and B as well, who are other members of the investigating team. And they sit down with Kat Matlala, who starts opening up a can of worms, alleging that he was funding Senzo Mkunu's political campaign for the race to presidency, that he was paying Lieutenant General Shadrack Sibiya on a monthly basis. He was paying him large sums of cash in the amount of R1 million a month. And this was in relation to that 360 million rand police tender that he had secured. He claims that Shadrack Sibiya and the KZN Hawks boss, Lesetja Sinona, were crucial in ensuring that he got that tender. And as payment for getting that tender and for them assisting him, when he would get payouts from SAPS regarding this tender, that he would take a portion of those payouts and pay Lieutenant General Sibiya. But he did say that he could never make EFT or electronic payments to Sibiya, and so he had to use cash payments. And he did this through another person he referred to as Sergeant F. Nkosi. This was someone that was in Sibiya's office who would often come collect cash from Matlala and then transport it and hand it over directly to Sibiya. So some explosive things coming out. Everything that Witness C is testifying to is allegedly contained in this recording by Matlala, who's confessing to investigators about all this cash flow and money payments that he did.
Where does Ria Piyega come into this?
So Ria Piyega, an interesting one, Mandy. Quite early on in Witness C's testimony this morning, we heard that on the day of Matlala's arrest, he had just been to visit Ria Piyega, the former National Police Commissioner, at her home in Midrand. And after leaving her premises, she was with a motorcade. They were traveling at very high speeds on the highway, and the vehicle Matlala was traveling hit a pothole, and he ended up having to pull off on the side of the road, and that's where police caught him, because police said that had he not had a blowout in terms of his tire, they wouldn't have been able to catch up with his motorcade. That's how fast they were traveling. He didn't go into detail about what he was doing at Piyega's home, but he did tell police that I was just at the former National Police Commissioner's home, Ria Piyega in Midrand, and that he had just left there when police arrested him.
You can't make this stuff up. Okay, so we're hearing all this testimony about the money, right? And of course, we need evidence of this. I mean, if I cast my mind back to the Jackie Salibi trial, there were cash slips with JS on them and check stubs that had been written. There's no evidence of any of these payments because they were all made in cash, right?
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing that one of the commission co-chairs asked him to say that, look, so are you saying that there's no sort of paper trail regarding these payments? Because if they weren't done electronically, there would be no sort of paper trail. And the witness, he confirmed. He said that's the reason that Sabia wanted it done this way, allegedly, that there would be no paper trail. And that he would draw large amounts of cash, give it over to Sergeant FC and Corsi, who would then take it over to Sabia. So I'm not sure how they're going to prove that, Mandy. And they might have to go back into his paper, into his withdrawals from his account. They might have to even launch a lifestyle audit into Shadrach Sabia himself, if it hasn't already been done, to determine whether this money was received or not.
Interesting. Oren, thank you so much. Oren Singh, EWN reporter at the Madlanga inquiry. This is an important reminder that what we are watching here is not a criminal trial, and it is an inquiry. It is a commission. So there is no requirement for them to prove the evidence in the same way. If it was a criminal trial, they would need to show there would be a forensic audit that had taken place. There would be a potential lifestyle audit. There would be other witnesses that would come and corroborate what is being said. There would be the PA, there would be the financial advisor, and what we're hearing here is an inquiry, so a different measure really, and it's important to remember that. Well, let's take a listen to Witness C telling the Madlanga Commission about Kat Matlala's claims the police minister had assisted him by using his security detail to identify the police officers who raided his house. Take a listen.
Proceed to detail the kind of assistance that Mr. Matlala says he received from the minister. This is with reference to paragraph 95 of your statement.
Thank you. In his response pertaining the assistance that he got for the 6 December raid at his house, he said the minister had engaged with his security and they have utilized the grabber machines in order to identify the SAPS members who had been investigating him and who had raided his house at on the 6th of December. And that is where now Mr. Mokhodzi had sent him the vehicle registration numbers of the cars that we were using when we went to his house. And that is where now he had also made inquiries on my identity and my commander's identity, and that is how he knew that it was us and that we belonged to a team headed by Lieutenant General S.D. Kumar.
So that was a bit earlier on, Witness C testifying. Let's listen in live now to what is happening there.
Chair, this concludes this aspect of the witness's testimony. It's in fact a conclusion of our final theme, which related to the arrest of Mr. Matlala. I sought guidance as to whether we should attempt to play the recordings now because they relate to this theme, or whether I should complete his testimony and then play the recordings at that stage.
My colleague, Commissioner Baloyi, has a question, but to respond to you directly so long, let's just finish the evidence all the way to the end.
Thank you, Chair.
Witness C, about General Feroz Khan, did Mr. Matlala at any point, whether on the 6th or on the day of his arrest, explain the nature of his relationship with Feroz Khan, with General Khan, rather?
Thank you, Commissioners. Mr. Matala only indicated that he was close to to Major General Feroz Khan. He didn't indicate the nature of the relationship or the closeness of them as to what end.
And thank you. And then another question. In your paragraph 91 of the statement, right at the end, you say, I will reference, it starts this way, in the course of this section, I will reference chats obtained from Mr. Matlala's phone in support of what he shared with us. Up to this part, this end of your evidence, you haven't referenced any chats that were obtained from his phone. What is that about, that sentence? What are you referring to?
I do not have specific chats between.
Witness C on the stand there at the Madlanga Commission testifying about the arrest of Kat Matlala and payments he allegedly made to Lieutenant General Shadrack Sibia. We're talking here about money for his son's wedding allegedly, for a B&B as well. Lots of that detail coming out. So while we are watching the Madlanga inquiry, the work of the police still continuing, and General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, the KZN Commissioner, who really was the catalyst for this inquiry, is busy with the work of getting his police officers ready for the festive season. He's been launching the festive season action plan in KZN. Nhlanhla Mabaso, EWN reporter there for us. Nhlanhla, good afternoon to you. Thanks for your time. Take us through what General Mkhwanazi had to say today.
Well, Mandy, good afternoon to you. Well, he is currently actually addressing that gathering here at the amphitheater park here in the Durban beachfront with various law enforcement agencies, including SABS, eThekwini Metro, Road Traffic Inspectorate, Border Management Authority, among others, ahead of the safety season launch here. He says, Mandy, while the safety season is yet to come, the members that are here are already in motion. He says 1,000 more members will be coming from the college and will be deployed across the province. This includes your beachfront areas. There's a new unit that's called the Tourist Protection Unit, which will operate mainly here in the beachfront, the hotels, and your malls here in the province. But a stern warning, Mandy, really from him, that when you are approached by police in this province, open court, he says you must surrender, because if not, things may turn bad. He says whoever is being approached by police, that is because they have working crime intelligence that is identifying wanted suspects, among other issues. He says when police approach you, just know that they have certain information and they just want to ensure that they follow proper procedures. But he says any failure to adhere or to respect lawful orders may end up badly for those officers. But he also urged matriculants that as they are writing their matrics, they should ensure that they celebrate their pens down celebrations properly. So he has discouraged them from taking alcohol and drugs, saying that police will not tolerate any lawlessness in the province, man.
Nhlanhla, thank you very much. Nhlanhla Mabaso, EWN reporter, speaking to us there about the launch of the festive season plan. Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, the KZN Commissioner, currently busy with that address.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener on 702 and Cape Talk is brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently.
Afternoon, Randy. This whole SAPS thing is so bad. The top echelon are so rotten. They're going to need to be wiped off the board. But then who's going to provide law and order for us? The army? Have a good day, Tom.
Real growth needs more than just banking, and Nedbank Commercial Banking is your growth partner. Their team of industry experts understand your business and its potential, offering insight to help you see opportunity where others see obstacles. Because when you can see what others don't, you can do what others can't. Think bigger. Think Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently. Nedbank is a licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Huawei Watch GT6 Series, 2025's must-have smartwatch, introducing the king of power. Up to 21 days of unstoppable battery life in a sleek titanium and ceramic design that's as strong as it's stylish. The Trackmaster with 24/7 heart tracking, sleep monitoring, advanced health management, and the world's first cycling virtual power feature. Fully compatible with both iOS and Android. Get yours now from just 169 Rand a month over 36 months or 4,999 Rand at selected retailers. T's and C's apply.
702 and the Dis-Chem Foundation are shining the spotlight on the health matters you want to know more about. Here's what we explored this month.
Head of Outreach at Holy Rosary School, Yvette Bibis. It's about the importance of sight and access through reading glasses for those who need them most.
We came across Lens of Hope in Cape Town. They collect old frames, refurbish them, and give them to people who can't afford to buy their own. Within 2 weeks of us starting, it just went countrywide. Today, what we've got on our premises are 4,200 pairs of glasses.
Well, 4-2 is an extraordinary achievement. Good luck with the work.
In Conversation on Afternoon Drive with John Perlman. Brought to you by the Dis-Chem Foundation, caring for the community on 702.
The Midday Report, Monday to Friday.
12 to 1 p.m.
12:22 on the Midday Report with me, Mandy Wiener. Public Works has got a new plan, the South African Construction Action Plan. It's a framework to restore accountability, fix failing projects, and end what's called the days of doing business with the government without delivering. The person behind that, the Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure, Dean McPherson, joining us now to unpack this. Minister, good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for your time today.
Hi, Mandy. Thanks. It's great to be with you.
Tell us about the new plan that you've unveiled.
Well, Mandy, I think it's a response to the growing frustration of the public and even myself at seeing half-completed or not completed at all projects that are undertaken by Public Works, both nationally and provincially. And what we did is we gathered the MECs from across the country, our heads of departments and senior officials, to say what are the root causes of these failures and how can we decisively deal with them to not only recover what's been lost, but also to have a plan that delivers into the future. And so we had some very tough discussions amongst ourselves. And we identified 6 key priority areas, some of those being around contractor performance and making sure that non-performers are blacklisted from ever doing business with the state. We also looked at issues like cash flow, which really affects our projects and how budgets for public works have to be ring-fenced by client departments. Just that intervention alone would yield huge results. Things like digital data analytics to registering and ensuring that all professionals in the built environment space are properly registered so that they can deliver. So we think it's comprehensive, it's time-bound. There are quarterly reviews that will be taken by myself and the MECs and ensuring that also data is published for the public to be able to track and hold us accountable to.
You use specific examples to justify why this is necessary. So, for example, the Telkom Towers building in Pretoria, there's the Mayibuye Primary School in Midrand that was built in a waterlogged area. How big is the scale of this problem that it requires a plan like this?
Mandy, I think if you had to open your phone lines, you wouldn't be able to discuss anything else for the rest of the day, because everyone knows of a project in their community or their town that is half built or incomplete. So it's a blight across the country, and that's why we have to catch up and we have to complete those projects that are at 70 and 80%. And then we've got to make sure that those that are now in procurement are procured correctly, are procured transparently and fairly, and that we ensure that the best people are appointed to them. That's not saying that there's no space for small contractors. In fact, we've taken a very deliberate decision to say in the financial year, we're setting aside 300 million rand to develop contractors so that they are able to deliver and that we can progress them up the grading scale. But what we are saying is you cannot give complex projects and difficult projects to people and companies who have never delivered or built anything before. That is just asking for trouble. And it also destroys their businesses as well. So it's some pretty tough decisions that we've taken, but I'm very satisfied that the MECs are as animated as I am about it, and we're all committed to seeing the change across the country.
The real test will be in delivery, won't it?
Of course, absolutely. Talk is cheap, but bricks and mortar is what people want to see. So that's why the publishing of data, the tracking of progress is going to be important. Making sure that we have the digital infrastructure to do so. So there's commonality between all 9 provinces and nationally, and so we can help one another where there are blockages. I must say that the development of what we call restriction committees in every province is going to be crucial as well, so that we deliver. So, we are able to share data about companies and individuals that have ripped the state off and not, delivered anything. And just by making sure we have the right people to begin with is going to see quicker and better delivery.
The plan also targets the construction mafia, and we know that these groups, these extraction mafias, are posing a huge problem that have resulted in assassinations in some instances. There's one thing to have a plan, there's another to be the person on the ground executing that plan. How are you going to manage this?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I'm that person who has to be on the ground executing it. So, I'm not very popular in some circles, but that's fine. And we've actually made a lot of progress, Mandy, on the construction mafia. Last year, you'll recall, we had our inaugural construction summit where we dealt with this issue. And we've arrested 845 people and secured 260 convictions. So that's a new number that hasn't been disclosed yet. So you can use that for your bulletin. And that is a really big jump in prosecutions and accountability in just a year. On some construction sites reported to us, we've seen an 80% decrease in lost construction hours because of the partnership that we have with the SAPS, ourselves, National Treasury, in driving those policy and security changes on site. So it's working, and I'm actually convinced now that any failure to construct and build is not a result of construction mafia. It's part of the problem, but our bigger problem is actually on contractor capability and cash flow now.
Minister, thank you very much. Minister of Public Works, Dean McPherson, speaking to us there about the new South African Construction Action Plan. What are your thoughts after listening to that? Send us a WhatsApp voice note. 12:31, time for Eyewitness News headlines.
Thanks, Mandy. Good afternoon. Police have responded to a crime scene in Marlborough, north of Johannesburg, at the intersection of Viola Road and 4th and 8th Street today. Unconfirmed reports suggest the high-ranking officials of the Alexandra Randburg Midrand Taxi Association have been shot and killed. A collision involving multiple vehicles can be seen on that scene, with some of the cars with gunshots. The Madlanga Commission of Inquiry has heard how tender tycoon Vusimuzi Madlala visited the home of former National Police Commissioner Ria Piecha just hours before his arrest in May. This has been revealed by Witness C, a detective attached to Gauteng counterintelligence operations. The witness is currently testifying partially in camera before the inquiry. And Rand Water is urging communities to use water sparingly to help reduce the current high demand. That call was made during the launch of the Utilities Education Drop-by-Drop initiative in Orlando, Soweto today. Rand Water says the program will focus on providing skills to residents to enable them to contribute in resolving some of the water challenges. Those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 1 or as it happens.
EWN Sport.
Good afternoon, I'm Tolagile Mganga. We started the Women's World Cup where Australia are batting against India in the second semi-final. The latest from their innings sees them on 78 for the loss of 1 in the 11th over. At the crease is Phoebe Litchfield on 45 alongside Elise Perry on 18. Of course, the winner of this one will meet South Africa in Sunday's final. That's after they thrashed England by 125 runs thanks to a top score of 169 from captain Laura Valvad. Marazan Kapa shared her thoughts on the team reaching a third final and a first ever in the ODIs.
Well, to be honest, I probably haven't had the best World Cup personally. So coming into this game, I knew I was due a good performance. Polpy was brilliant as well. She's so consistent. But look, I think it's just to go back to the experience of having been here for so many years. And ultimately, that is what wins you semi-finals and World Cups.
The semi-finals of the Carling Knockout will see Orlando Pirates up against Richards Bay while Marumo Gallants play Golden Arrows. Both those encounters will take place on the weekend of the 8th and 9th of November. And in England, Arne Slot has no regrets about resting most of his first-team players after Liverpool crashed out of the Carabao Cup. The Reds are out of the competition, having lost 3-0 at home to Crystal Palace.
And I think at this moment of time, with only 15, 16 players available, and I'm talking then about players of our squad, to add to that this club has always used this competition for their academy players as well. This felt to me as the right decision, and I haven't changed my opinion about that after the results, because with our starters we haven't been able to win a lot from Palace as well.
Tola Gilimganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Well, at this stage, if you're traveling through the Joburg CBD, there's still slow-moving traffic. This is on the M2 westbound heading towards Riverlea. Between Joslovo Drive and Main Reef Road, traveling through Calvin Alex heading towards Germiston. We still have those roadworks slowing down traffic on the N3 in both directions between the Patlu Interchange and London Road. Look out for those faulty traffic lights still in Polshof at Witkoppen and Main. In the Mother City, there's slow-moving traffic on the elevated freeway that's heading into the Cape Town CBD. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. Like a man wearing his finest suit on his way to an interview. He's prepped 100 times, but he still has butterflies. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic. It's a potential lucky break that could change someone's life. Every story is different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
Let's rewind 6 years, when Twitter was still Twitter, not a letter of the alphabet. TikTok was simply the sound your clock made. And Zoom just meant enlarging a picture. So it makes you wonder, what will the next 6 years bring? Hino trucks now come standard with a 6-year drivetrain warranty, covering everything from pistons to gears. So although a lot can change in 6 years, our warranty promise won't. T's and C's apply. Hino, all the way.
Small businesses are anything but small. They're the backbone of our communities, the dreamers, the doers, the ones who keep Mzansi moving forward. That's why 702 and Capitec Business Banking are putting them in the spotlight. Every Thursday between 6 and 8 p.m., catch Small Business Focus with Capitec, where we showcase the hustle, heart, and the secrets to thriving in today's economy. Your vision matters, and with Capitec, you're never building it alone. Small Business Focus with Capitec, the business bank for everyone. Thursdays between 6 and 8 p.m. on 702. Capitec Bank is an authorized FSP 46669.
WhatsApp Mandy
on 072 702 1702.
Good afternoon. Good day, Mandy and Radio 702 listeners. Jimmy here from Fosloras and Extension 7. You know, when you're listening to this Madlanga Commission and the ad hoc committee, individuals from the high position of this country, high decision making, confessing about the reason why our country is going to the drain. It is so shocking. But at the end of the day, I want to say, God is great. He provided us with the brilliant man who decided to compromise his personal life and his family and come up and tell the South Africans what is happening in this country. Thank you.
So I have a bit of a controversial view on the Madlanga inquiry. I think that everything coming out is actually a good thing. I don't think it's terrible. I know that Prince Mashele was speaking about how we've become Colombia and it shows us how deep the rot is. Yes, it does show us how deep the rot is. I've written about this extensively, about the relationship between police and politicians and organized crime. And it's a huge problem that we need to deal with, but we are hearing about it. And sunlight is the best disinfectant. I think the fact that we are having this inquiry, that we are seeing witnesses coming forward and testifying, at least gives us the understanding of just how bad it is. So I know I'm looking at it with rose-tinted glasses to an extent, but I'm in favor of the fact that we are now hearing all of this. I think it's a positive sign.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener is brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently.
The High Court in KZN in Pietermaritzburg set to make a judgment on the reopened inquest into the death of the former ANC President General Chief Albert Luthuli today. He died in 1967. The government at the time, the apartheid government, ruled that the death was an accident, saying he was hit by a goods train while crossing a railway line in Kwadukuza in the east of KZN. However, the NPA has pushed ahead with this inquest into his death, and they've said that new evidence has emerged showing he may have been murdered. So let's get the latest on that now with Tabiso Gorba, EWN reporter. Tabiso, good afternoon to you. Thanks for your time. Do we have a decision there?
Good afternoon, Mandy. I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
Do we have a decision there by the court?
Yes. The decision has just been made. I just stepped out of court. It's a bit noisy, as you can imagine. So we do have a bit of breaking news that the KwaZulu-Natal High Court has officially declared that Chief Albert Luthuli was beaten to death by apartheid police and by employees from the railway, which is the former PRASA, what PRASA used to be called. So this is a significant development, Mandy. The KwaZulu-Natal High Court has also overturned the initial inquest that was made in 1967, which had ruled that Chief Albert Luthuli's death was accidental and that he was hit by a goods train. During the reopened inquest, which has been taking place since April this year, Mandy, there was a witness who testified that they had a sibling who actually saw Chief Albert Luthuli being beaten by at least 3 white men with a spade, and they were repeatedly hitting him on the head. Now that witness has since disappeared, Mandy, and has never ever been found again. But prior to his disappearance, he had shared what he had seen to his family members, and one of the family members actually testified here in court during the inquest that Chief Albert Luthuli was actually beaten to death by these 3 white men that belonged to the apartheid security branch, but also worked for the railway line. Now,
go ahead.
Yes. Now, as I said, Mandy, as we're currently speaking now, I'm looking at the families of the Luthuli family, the ANC, the military veterans that used to serve under Luthuli, and it's also obviously a bit emotional for them here. This happened around 58 years ago, but those raw emotions very much visible here from the Luthuli family, but also those former comrades of Chief Albert Luthuli.
Huge news there, Tabiso, that this has been determined that, in fact, Chief Albert Luthuli died from a beating and not as a result of an accident. What happens now? Are there still people alive who could potentially be prosecuted?
And that's the big question, Mandy. There were the Hawks. So there's a division in Hawks that investigates TRC-related matters that arose from the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. And so there's the 3 officers who are tasked with reinvestigating this matter of Chief Albert Luthuli's death. Unfortunately, they have not been able to track down any of the guys that are actually responsible. So they could be dead, they could have immigrated to another country, they could have changed their names. So unfortunately, at this point, the man responsible, they have been named by the judge. There are arrest warrants for them if they are still alive. But those men have not been able to be tracked by the law enforcement officers. Now, Mandy, I did have a conversation with Jeff Radebe, the ANC provincial convener here in KwaZulu-Natal, prior to the judgment, and this is what he had to say regarding today's proceedings.
Is this a matter of just correcting the historical record? Because I think you remember there was a host detective who was charged with reinvestigating this crime, saying that some of the guys, the train driver, the conductor, even the firefighter, he hasn't been able to find them. They could be dead, they could have been left the country. Is this just a matter of correcting historical record, or just getting justice and holding those people who are responsible accountable?
It is all of the above. The family, first and foremost, the Luthuli family, they need to know the actual truth, what transpired in 1967. Also, as the ANC and the people of South Africa, we need historic closure to this matter in order to ensure that as we move forward, we should correct the deeds of the past. But those who are responsible must be held accountable.
Overall question, we know that here there's Griffiths Mklenge, but there's the Craddock in Eastern Cape. There's also a number of the CRC cases happening across the country. Just what do you make of them, especially after so long that these cases have been dormant?
Well, as you can see, in all these reopening of all these cases indicates and reflect that the apartheid regime was really a crime against humanity. All those cruel murders perpetrated against our leaders and our people, we need to know the actual truth, what transpired. As you can see, even the Craddock 4, the trial that is taking place in the Eastern Cape in terms of revealing what really transpired there is going to assist us, not only as a people, but the family of those victims.
Thank you very much to Tabiso Goba, EWN reporter there. Big breaking news coming through that the High Court in Pietermaritzburg has handed down that judgment and has found that the former ANC leader, Chief Albert Luthuli, who died in 1967, the death was not in fact an accident, but was the result of a beating.
702. Mandy Wiener.
Weekdays 12 to 1 p.m.
Well, a little while ago, we told you about the fact that Walmart is going to open its first branded stores in South Africa. At that stage, we didn't know where the stores would be. Well, now we have clarity that the site for the first Walmart branded store will be at Clearwater Mall. The second will likely be at Fourways Mall. Brian Leroni is the Massmart Senior Vice President for Group Corporate Affairs and joins us now. Brian, good afternoon to you. Thanks for your time. Why have you selected Clearwater Mall as the site for the first Walmart branded store?
Yeah, hi Mandy. It's really a good commercial decision, we think. Clearwater and its surrounding catchment has very high densities. In addition to which, there's really good broad economic representation in that area. Our objective would be that this store would probably remain amongst our top 5 stores in terms of turnover and profitability for the next few years.
There are plans to open further stores. I understand one of the sites for that is Fourways.
Yeah, my broadband very cleverly identified that from a social media post. And yes, there's a store going up in Fourways. The big question is it going to be the second store or might it be a little later? But we'll have to see about that.
Oh, you tease, Brian, you tease.
There you go.
Okay, so one of the ranges that are coming in are obviously it would be US ranges, and one of them is Drew Barrymore's Beautiful range. Tell us about that and why you think there's a market for that here.
Yeah, that's an amazing opportunity. In fact, Beautiful is a range that is exclusive to Walmart globally. And the Walmart buyers presented it to us. We believe that it's priced affordably. It is really beautiful design, on-trend appliances that we think we can make accessible to our customers and that they will find them to be appealing. So It's exciting. It is an experiment, and that's what happens with new formats. You introduce new products, you see how they go, and you adapt and change depending on market reaction.
And then, of course, you'll also be offering all sorts of things, right, as a Walmart does?
Yeah, Mandy, the general idea is that we'll primarily source locally, but we do want to introduce things that make the daily shopping expedition interesting and exciting. So we will, on an ongoing basis, broaden our ranges and experiment with other products. One of my personal favorites, and this is a great advantage of my job, I get to try and sample things, are in our confectionery aisle, where we have a really popular brand of Warheads Extreme Sour Gummies.
Oh, my son's favorite.
And that's a US product. But listen to this. Scorching hot cheese curls have proven to be an absolute hit with our staff, who are doing a lot of the taste testing. Dr. Pepper's strawberries and cream, colas will be available. There's a wonderful biscuit. I don't know if you've heard of it, Pop-Tarts. Have you heard of Pop-Tarts at all? They're pastries. It's a US biscuit, very popular in the US. The particular filling that we have found to be popular is hot fudge sundae.
Okay, you can stop now. Brian, all the best. Thanks very much.
Thanks so much.
Brian Laroni, Massmart Senior Vice President for Group Corporate Affairs, telling us about that first Walmart branded store, which will go up at Clearwater Mall.
The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. Like the eager beaver driving to meet the woman of his dreams. Butterflies in his stomach, GPS on full volume. He checks his hair for the 7th time. Looking good. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic. It's a possible love story on the move. Every story is different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005. In proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
Huawei Watch GT6 Series, 2025's must-have smartwatch, introducing the king of power. Up to 21 days of unstoppable battery life in a sleek titanium and ceramic design that's as strong as it's stylish. The Trackmaster with 24/7 heart rate tracking, sleep monitoring, advanced health management, and the world's first cycling virtual power feature. Fully compatible with both iOS and Android. Get yours now from just 169 Rand a month over 36 months or 4,999 Rand at selected retailers. T's and C's apply.
You know him as the 702 Drive show host.
But there are a few things you may not know about John Perlman.
He hosted his first radio show, a music show, at the age of 18 at a school radio station in the USA.
His NGO, Dreamfields, which he started 16 years ago, has 80,000 township and rural kids playing football and netball at school.
He is a Leo who loves all cats.
From little kittens
to lions and leopards.
He's part of our 702 family.
He is John Perlman.
And you can catch him on 702 Drive.
Weekdays,
3 to 6 p.m. 702. Let's walk the talk. 702 and Cape Talk.
Book of the Week.
It's a Thursday, and on Thursdays on the Midday Report, we speak to the author of a local non-fiction book. And this book is a delight. It tells the story of when movie mayhem gripped Johannesburg and the City of Gold. In 1913, a secretive American millionaire who lived on the top floor of the famous Carlton Hotel had a crazy idea to make movies in Johannesburg. Hollywood on the Veld is the never-before-told story of the rise and fall of the strangest and most unique movie empire ever. What a blurb. What a blurb. Ted Botha is the author of this book and joins us now. Ted, good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for your time. Okay, it looks like we're having a problem with that line. We'll get Ted Botha on. But just to tell you a little bit more, this is the story of Isidor Schlesinger and how he set about making a Hollywood in Johannesburg in the early 20th century. And this book, Hollywood on the Veld, When Movie Mayhem Gripped the City of Gold, dives into this little-known chapter in our history. It's the audacious 1913 attempt by the American millionaire to build a movie empire. And what he did was he actually set about building this empire in Killarney. So the book tracks the movie empire on the Witwatersrand. There were these vast sets that had been set up, thousands of extras. There was scandal, there was ambition, and then it all suffered this spectacular collapse. So we'll find out more about this with Ted Buerter, who is the author of this book. We'll get him on in a short while, but let's go to an ad break and then we'll come back with Ted Buerter.
Access to the internet is vital for any country to grow. That's why the recent 6.75 billion rand digital infrastructure deal that Standard Bank Corporate and Investment Banking facilitated between Telkom and an Actors-led consortium is so transformational for South Africa. It unlocks growth and provides internet access to underserved communities who will now have access to the internet for the very first time. Search CIB Stories of Impact to watch the full story.
Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
702 and the Discam Foundation are shining the spotlight on the health matters you want to know more about. Here's what we explored this month.
Head of Outreach at Holy Rosary School, Yvette Bibis. It's about the importance of sight and access through reading glasses for those who need them most.
We came across Lens of Hope in Cape Town. They collect old frames, refurbish them, and give them to people who can't afford to buy their own. Within 2 weeks of us starting, it just went countrywide. Today, what we've got on our premises are 4,200 pairs of glasses.
Well, 4-2 is an extraordinary achievement. Good luck with the work.
In Conversation on Afternoon Drive with John Perlman. Brought to you by the Discam Foundation, caring for the community on 702.
702, the Midday Report, Monday to Friday.
12 to 1 p.m.
12:54 on the Midday Report with me, Mandy Wiener. We are due to do our interview with the author of our book of the week. The book of the week is called Hollywood on the Veldt, When Movie Mayhem Gripped the City of Gold. We are due to speak to Ted Buerter, who is the author of this book. We are struggling to get through to him, unfortunately. And this is a wonderfully delightful book that tells the story of the early 1913, when a secretive American millionaire by the name of Isidore Schlesinger started this bold venture to create a Hollywood, effectively, at Killarney. And it tells the story of the sets that were developed, the drama that went on behind the scenes. We're struggling to get through to him, so I think we'll push that to next week so that we have some more time to chat to Ted Buerter. It's really well worth it. So what do you do in South Africa when you can't get through to the author of a book? Well, you go to the Madlanga inquiry, because that's where the drama is really happening. It's like something out of a plot of a thriller. So let's listen in there to witness see.
On our circumstances, this is the conclusion of my testimony at this juncture.
Thank you, Chairperson. That is the conclusion of witnesses' evidence.
Yeah, of course, it's subject to us listening to
the recordings.
Yes.
5 minutes to 1, Chairperson.
Should we not take the lunch adjournment at this stage? And we were told that we would be getting earphones or headphones in order to set up, get all of those. Maybe let's resume at 2 p.m.
Thank you, Chairperson. We will use the...
So a break there at the Madlanga inquiry. It's all working out today, isn't it? What's happening there at the moment is very important, because you heard that mention of earphones, and that's because they are going to hear a recording that was recorded by of Kat Matlala, and that's crucial. You heard from Oren Singh earlier why that is so important, and that detail coming out there about the evidence of the payments that were allegedly made to Shadrach Sibiya, the Deputy National Commissioner. So a lot of that is going to be heard as well after the lunch break. So I think that's going to be riveting to actually hear those recordings that are going to be played. Let's listen to some of the WhatsApp voice notes that you've been sending through.
Hi, Mandy. Remember when
after General Mkonazi came out and exposed everything, remember how Sibia, Kumalo, and their buddy O'Sullivan came out and said how he doesn't know what he's talking about, he's lying to the nation. The things we've been hearing in these commissions and the ad hoc committee as well is beyond my wildest imagination. Anyway, take care.
Hi, Mandy. Hope you're doing well. I just want to concur with you and say, yes, it is a good thing that these things are coming to the light, and therefore I disagree with those who have said previously that Ramaphosa should have fired Mkhunu straight away after the revelation of that July 6th press conference, because if he just did that straight out the gate, we wouldn't have all these revelations coming out. So it was a good thing for the country. Thank you.
Hi, Mandy. Good day, Quinton here. All governments are stealing all over the world. Problem is, some of them take 10% and give 90% to the people. Yeah, they steal 90% and give 10% to the people.
Good day, it's Kevin from Road Report. Cindy, I hear you when you say that, it's a good thing that we now know what we know through these commissions. But the question is, what's going to happen after the Madlanga Commission? We'll just forget about it. So, Cindy, I'm failing to understand why these commissions are set up, because nothing ever happens afterwards. Just my 2 cents worth. Thank you.
Good day, Mandy. I'm pleased that this whole system will be or should be more transparent going forward. What I want to know is, when projects are happening in residential areas, who will be overseeing the process of the workforce? Because we were always told that the workforce will be of local labor. And this last water pipe project in our community, it consisted of mostly foreign nationals working and not local labor.
Thank you very much for all of those WhatsApp voice notes coming in, responding to various things we've been discussing on the show today. I'm used to being called Wendy. Cindy, not so much. I'll take that. But I think keep watching the Madlanga inquiry and listening, because they are going to resume at 2 o'clock and the Matlala recordings will be played. So I think that's going to be a crucial development at the inquiry. Thanks for listening. The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener on 702 and Cape Talk was brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. Think bigger. Think Nedbank Commercial Banking. It's 1 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Chief Albert Luthuli's death ruled as not an accident, and police probe a deadly shooting in Marlborough this afternoon. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. Let's begin with news just in. The KwaZulu-Natal High Court has ruled former ANC President Chief Albert was beaten to death by apartheid police. The court has also set aside the